Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahshua Bashem, Rakakwada Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, Lasciviousness, Adultery, and Why Ends. And on the subject of lasciviousness, I'm going to look to read the definition, which I just read. I'm going to go on to the scriptures, and then I'm going to give you a solution for adultery. And I gave you the definition a couple of videos ago. Matter of fact, I did 2 videos on the subject. The last video I did was sort of a response to IUIC video. I think it was IUIC Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken, where the individual, the speaker, the brother that was speaking in the IUIC, he was talking to a Jake and a woman that appeared to be an Edomite. Now, she could have been a Jake. Now, what these guys do at IUIC, they look at somebody look like an Edomite, and they all of a sudden that's an Edomite. You're going to have a lot of Israelites looking like Edomites, vice versa, because they'll never look at somebody real dark and say he might be an Edomite. Let's ask them. No. That's called a tear, or those are called tears. But anyway, I wanted to deal with the word and definition of the word lasciviousness. I'll show you a little video clip of an interview that was being done conducted by a Sarnetta with the Captain Tazariak of the ISUPK. I'm going to show you a couple of, which I've seen this on the news, but this is, well, I've seen some of it, but anyway, I'm going to also go into the word adultery. How do we get adultery out of the system? You know, how do we cure adultery? And adultery only like going back to the brother, the IUIC, he said, what's adultery? And he looked at the brother, and the Edomite, would appear to be Edomite, looked at him, cut his eyes at him, and excuse me. The IUIC brother said, "Oh, that's if you lay with another woman that's not your wife, which is only true if you lay with a woman that's not your wife that's married to another man. If you have a wife, you lay with another woman outside of your wife, that's not adultery. Now, adultery is if the man lay with a woman that has a husband. That's adultery. And you can be put to death for that. You lay with 3 or 4 women, that's not your wife. That's not adultery. So I don't know why the IUIC teaches that madness, which is clearly not the scripture, showing you that they add they add to the scriptures and take away from the scriptures. They add to the law and they take away from the law. I believe that's in Deuteronomy chapter 4, where it speaks about adding. Thou shalt not add unto the Lord, take away from the law. It says in Proverbs 30 the same thing. Matter of fact, I'll go and read those scriptures right quick, and I'll read them in the King James. I'm not going to make this too long. Let me go to Deuteronomy 4. I believe it's 4 or 4. Give me a second. Did it come up? Oh, no, it didn't come up because let me do this. Bear me for a minute. Okay, I got to plug this back in. Okay, here we go. Deuteronomy 4. Wait for it to come up. Okay, let me see. Right, Deuteronomy 4:4 and 2. Let me start. Israel urged to obey the Most High's laws, and part of the law is you cannot take away or add to the law. Ye shall not add unto the word. What word? What word is being spoken here? Moses is conveying to the people, the Israelites. The law. He said, ye shall not add unto the word or the law, which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it. You should not diminish from the law or from the word, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh, your power, which I command you. So let's go to Proverbs 30. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. Because maybe, well, I don't understand it. You're not breaking it down to me right. Let's go to the NLT. Back to the basics. Okay. Do not add to or subtract from these commands. This is even better version. I am giving you, just obey the commands of Yahweh, your power, that I am giving you. Do not add to or subtract from these commands or commandments. So the individual, the IUIC, that told a brother, if you deal with a woman outside of marriage, that's adultery. He went off. He took away from the scriptures and he added to the scriptures. Because if you take away something from the scriptures, you got to add something else to it. So you're guilty of taking away and adding. So let's go to Proverbs 30. And it's also in Revelation chapter 10, which I don't have to read that. Give me a second. 6th verse. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start from the 5th verse. Every word of the Most High is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him, or in his words. Add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found a liar. So we found IUIC as a lie, a camp of liars, a lying camp, or camp of liars. They teach in the Sabbath, Friday, Sunday, on the Saturday, Sunday. Well, that's other camps too, and they will be. They are found by us to be liars, because they can't say, "Oh, we didn't know." Well, you watch the videos, you watch the GMS videos, so you know. And I'm not going to go to Revelation. I say Revelation 10, Revelation 22, 18 and 19. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and read this in the NLT. Every word, I will make sure I'm in the NLT. Every word of the Most High proves true. He is a shield to all who come to him for protection. Do not add to his words, or he may rebuke you and expose you as a liar. So we rebuke that video that I did a couple of days ago. I believe it was the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. I rebuked and exposed them for being liars. So let me come back over here. So let's look up the word lasciviousness. Let me do this before I read it again. Let me go to the drop down menu. Okay, let me read the definition. I'm going to show you this little clip. Lasciviousness refers to a state of quality of being lustful, lewd. When you're in a woman and you get aroused with your woman, that's called lust. You can lust for your woman. You can lust for another woman as long as she's not married. If you know that the woman's married, you do not lust. You turn your eyes from the woman. Or that brother that I work with on the job, look at how his women look. And you look the other way. Lewd or sexually suggestive, often with a connotation of excessive or unrestrained desire. And that's what's happening in among the Jake women and the Jake men. That's why the Most High is going to set them on fire. Gonna make them get that chip. If they make it that far, then when they get that chip, once you get that chip, the Most High is gonna preserve your life so you can get, so you can eat a missile. It says it can be a tendency to lewdness, a morbid sexual desire, or propensity to arouse feelings of sexual desire. Now the Diddy thing, they had sex fest for 3 or 4 days straight. The term is often used to describe behavior or conduct that is considered crude, offensive, or contrary to moral or social standards of appropriate behavior. These women that you get, these Jake women, they all been around, bro. They can show you a thing or two, or three, or four, or five, or six. So everyone is guilty of adultery. Any woman that you get, let's say she's in her 20s or 30s, any woman that you get among Israel, and that includes the Northern Kingdom, you really committing adultery in the eyes of the Most High. So all of you are guilty of adultery. But they showed it in display on at the Diddy trial. So now let's do this. Copy, and let me come back. Wow, 6 times. That's a lot. Mark 7:22. Thieves, covetous, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. I'm not going to open it up. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 21. Unless when I come again, my power will humble me among you, and that I will bewail many which have sinned already and have not repented of the uncleanness and fornication, which is adultery and lasciviousness, which they have committed. So you had Israelites that were freaking off. They were passing around partners and stuff. So, the Apostle Paul got on them and he said, when I come back, let me read it again. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go ahead and read this in the NLT. See, my opinion, you shouldn't have women around when you have your school. Your sisters shouldn't be around. Now, maybe they can be around if they don't have a man and they honestly want to learn, but you got to monitor them as far as dealing with other men. Now, if they have eyes for a brother in the school and they get together, then she no longer has to come to the school. So the ideal is the idea is any woman that comes in there of a particular marriageable age, the brother should get, she's an Israelite, she should get with an Israelite. As soon as they deal with each other, she no longer come to the school. Apostle Paul said that let your woman keep silent in the churches. If she would speak, let her ask her husband at home. So she don't got to attend. It says, yes, I am afraid that when I come again, the Most High will humble me in your presence, and I will be grieved because many of you have not given up your old sins. You have not repented of your impurity, sexual immorality, and eagerness for lustful pleasures. Y'all like to freak off. Like you had a situation in the IUIC about a year or two ago, where there was a case of adultery, and the Bishop Nate was talking about it, and he mentioned that one brother had a wife that was pregnant, and he was laying with the other brother's wife. He was showing pictures of his private to the woman. But then what he would do is he would go around the brother that he's committing adultery with, which is clearly wicked, man. You have no guilt in you at all. Here you are popping a woman. The woman is not telling her actual husband, and this guy's going around being cool with the brother. Now, if the brother had a backbone, he had every right to take him out and take out his wife. That would be could you imagine if that happened? They would be in the right, and Nate and them couldn't tell the authorities because they're in the right. But so Bishop Nate made a statement. If anybody can find a video, please send it to me so I can have it as a receipt. This was maybe a year ago. And they laughing and joking. Now, you know the guilty parties are watching, and the victims are watching. The victims are watching. And they got their head down. And here you got Nate laughing and joking about it. And he said, yeah. He said, I like this freaky stuff. So what is this? Is this guy going to the Diddy parties too? So we caught you out there. So you got into it. You got into that whole idea of adultery. Because the brother should have, if the brother didn't have no backbone. If he had a backbone, brother, because if that would have happened to me, I ain't going to say nothing else. And we're in that same organization, I would have meditated on it. I would have prayed on it. But anyway, well, it wouldn't happen to me because I'm not going to bring a woman around. This is my woman. She stays in my house. If they say, well, where's your woman? Why don't you bring her? I don't bring her around because that's my prerogative. Like Bobby Brown said, that's my prerogative. And he said he had the interview with Shannon Sharp, and they said, what's your favorite song? He said, my prerogative, because I wrote it, and it's about me. I do what I want to fucking do. So if IUIC said, well, you got a wife, she's a believer. Yes, she is a believer. But whether she is or not is none of your fucking concern. It's none of your business, bitches. But why don't you bring her around? Because I'm the man. I'm the fucking man, okay? And she ain't coming around. Well, you're going to be kicked out. I said, you know what? You ain't said nothing but a word. I'm out of here. See, a lot of you dudes are weak-minded, man. You have no backbone. You don't stand up for nothing. You're not about standing 10 toes down. You just go with the flow. That's why I call you guys zombies, man. Ain't no way in the hell a man gonna get on me. Oh, brother, I seen you with another woman outside of your wife. I said, so? What about? Well, we're gonna suspend you. I said, yeah, you can suspend me. You can suspend me for the next 10 years because I ain't coming back. Don't tell me what the fuck, what I can do and cannot do. Now, if I committed sin, if I lay with a sister in the school that's married to a dude, of course you can kick me out. And that's what you're supposed to do. But they, every once in a while they'll bring up, they'll curse, yeah, you baby, you looking at you adulterers and all that. Yeah, because you open it to anybody. Just have the men come in. Just have the men come in, because it's about the men anyway. Read Ezekiel 34. The flock of my pastor are men, not men and women. So, let me come on back. You know what, let me pull it on back. Okay? And we're going to look up the word lasciviousness in the blue letter. I'm going to look it up in the Greek. It says Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the Spirit, the works of the flesh are manifested, which are these: adultery, fornication, which is adultery, uncleanness, and lasciviousness. Ephesians 4:19, who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness and greediness. 1 Peter 4:3, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, meaning you were in a Gentile state of mind. When ye walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, and banquetings. That's why I told your brothers, don't be going to clubs, casinos, and all that. Don't be going with a lot of people to drink and all that and be on out. No, you can't do that. And abominable idolatries. Jude 1:4. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were before of old ordained to this condemnation, meaning it was already set that you're going to go off. Ungodly men, turning the grace of our Lord power into lasciviousness. And lascivious means you got a woman sticking a dildo up your ass or wearing a strap on. That's lasciviousness right there. That's lewd and crude, and denying the only Lord power and your Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the word lasciviousness. Let's look it up in the Greek.
Strong's G 766. As Elgaya. As Elgaya.
As Elgaya. Unbridled lust. And all you Jake women have that. Man looks at you a certain way. You married to a man. He's working. He's guiding the house. You Jake woman, you like bad. You like niggas that come out of prison. You like thug niggas. You know. So, you know, you dealing with a Jake woman. You laying with the devil. All right. Unbridled lust, excess. And some women have that demon on them where they can't be satisfied with their husband. And the husband might do what he's supposed to do, but she might want to have sex all day. Or have sex with multiple men. That's a demon. So I emphasize the word demon. That's a demon on you. I want to go into Second Timothy's 3. Speaks about crept in unawares. Because these women that come into this truth, because it happened back there over 2,000 years ago. You had women that came in there and was, that happened in One West. The One West was a mess. Because the 7 wasn't really leading. They had anybody just come up, any old nigga off the street and come up into school. You got to be vetted, man. It said unbridled lust, excess, lasciviousness, licentiousness, lasciviousness, wantonness, meaning you're not disciplined, outrageousness. Well, them freak-offs, I feel sorry for the people that had to clean all that stuff off the walls and off the beds. I mean, what the hell is your problem? You having a orgy for 3 or 4 days. You sleep, you get up, have more. What the fuck is your problem, man? Shamelessness, insolence. Now let me give you another precept. 2 Timothy 3. We'll get right down to the point. The point is the 7th verse, but I want to go up a couple of verses. Should read from the top. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sin, led away with diverse what? Lusts. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. That's why when a woman leaves, you know what she does? She throws that whole Hebrew Israelite thing in the garbage. This is for the men, and not just for men, the elect. This is not for our job is not to wake up and gather the whole nation. You're wrong, IUIC. Our job is to push this word out that the elect out there are, tapped on the forehead and their eyes woken up. They're ignited by what we teaching. So you don't got to be in face to face in front of nobody. So let's read this again, 6th verse. For of this sort are they which creep in the houses and lead captive silly women, laden. And the church is a harlot house. All the churches, there's all kind of wickedness going on in the church. Laden with sin, led away with diverse lusts. Led away with diverse lust. Let's look up the word lust. So everything's in the scriptures. I was listening to a little bit of Ron Dalton, and he was talking to this guy, Denano, of something nice out of South Africa. So they going in the angels, and he said, "Let me go into the book of Jubilee." I said, I'll cut it. I said, you can't talk to that guy. He just don't got it. I mean, he give it to him. He knows he's an Israelite, but he really doesn't. He doesn't understand these scriptures. Talking about the Israel, the land of Canaan, is south in the southern part of Africa. Okay, so this is the word for lust.
Strong's G, 1939. Epithumia. Epithumia.
Epithumia. Desire, craving, longing, desire for what is forbidden, lust. That's why the Most High, he ain't with that. That's why he says the punishment for adultery, and I explained adultery in the beginning of this video, If you forgot, go back to the beginning of this video. I explained what adultery is. Adultery is when a man lays with a man, whether he's married or not, lays with a woman that's married to a man, and he's still alive. If he dies, the man dies, and she's free of the law of under her husband. And it says you are under the law of your husband. That's in Romans 7. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. How that the law hath dominion over a man as long as he liveth. It's talking about, this woman can't deal with nobody while this man's living. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law, not the other way around. Let me read it again. I'm going to read this in the NLT. For the woman, so I hope you're taking notes, IUIC. For the woman which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband. Now it doesn't say, and the husband is bound by the wife, by the law of her wife. It does not say that. It does not say that. So long as he liveth, but if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. Remember, the law of her husband. He's a lord over you. Let me read the third verse. So then if, while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she lays with another man, has sex with another man, she shall be called an adulteress. The penalty is her being put to death, and the man she lays with be put to death. That's why when you deal with these women, you got to make sure, or like this guy, what's this guy, the comedian, Godfrey. He said when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you get the hot sauce, the Chinese guy said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" You got to be sure. It said, but if, so you got to ask her, some woman to say, no, I don't got no man. I ain't dealing with nobody. And she's married or she's dealing with somebody. You understand? So you got to make sure that she's not, you can't say, well, she told me, you're not guilty if she says no, that's on her. But guess what? You go lay with her and the man come in. And then you got niggas that she done cut the man off 2 months ago, and the nigga got, he's still feeling her. So he gonna wind up killing you. Baby, we can get back together. Cause you got, Jake is bugged. Look, Jake, majority of Jake belongs in insane asylums, man. They need help. Demons all over him, man. Tormenting the mind. Like these YNs. All these YNs are full of demons. They're not full of demons. They are demons. And they must be stopped. That's what it says in Deuteronomy 21. I believe that's Deuteronomy 21. I'm going to find out in a minute. So adultery and YNs, stubborn boys, the penalty is that they should be put to death. And see, you got these women out here doing what they got to do, and if the man catch up and maybe smacks her, he gets emotional, smacks her around, she can press charges on this guy and he'll be locked up. He might stab the woman up, she might live, and he gonna get locked up. Well, or kill a woman, and then they gonna look what she was a good. No, she wasn't. She was a fucking hoe. Talking about she was married to somebody. She's for the streets. You got to watch her dealing with these fucking women out here, man. And with the internet, all these different platforms, these women wasn't like that. They wasn't as bad back in the day. getting with a woman, she gonna play like she's an Shalom, brother. Yahweh Shemata. That's what they used to say. You know how many hoes, fucking hoes is in the One West? Remember when we were coming there with short dresses on, mini skirts, poon shorts, and the seven didn't say nothing. None of these guys, these high priests, generals, nobody said nothing. You know who would say something? Me. If I saw him, I said, "Sister, come over here. Why you coming up in here like this?" Well, they actually take a mini skirt and put fringes on it. So I said, no. You go home, goodbye. When you come back, you put a dress on. You cover the ankles, cover the body. But like I said, the seven didn't do that. They let that shit happen. They let all that that was a fucking whorehouse, man. Why you think there's no more One West? They'll say formerly One, there's no more One West. It's debunked, it's defrocked, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's done away with. 1941 Madison. That's nothing. Nobody knows about 19. I didn't know about the ICGJC, yeah, because the spirit was taken from that whole gathering. The scriptures say, "He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved." But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Now, when you go to the Apocrypha, Judith, they said that she was super fine. She was so fine that men would be at war and they would stop fighting just to look at her. And her husband died of a heat stroke. And, she vowed, she said, "I'm never going to deal with another man again." She was super fine. And then she was the one that they used to set up Holofernes. And she got him drunk. He was all gazing at her beauty. And she got him drunk, and then she pulled out a sword and chopped his head off, put it in a basket, and left, and gave it to the leadership of Israel. And they put the head up, and that gave him power. Gave him inspiration. If you go into the story of Holofernes, let me go into that real quick. Holofernes in the Apocrypha. I gotta get his freaking name.
Here's the definition of Apocrypha: biblical or related writings not forming part of the accepted canon of Scripture.
Yeah, that's these Edomites. Yeah. Holofernes. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Oh, no. Let me do it this way. I'm sorry. Let me go this route. Judith chopped the shit. Let me do this again. In the book of Judith in the Apocrypha, she chopped his head off. Holofernes. I say Holofernes. Yes, that's correct. In the book of Judith from the Apocrypha, Judith beheaded Holofernes. I say Holofernes. The Assyrian general, after seducing him, she didn't lay with that man. She got the man drunk and gaining access to his tent. she then takes his head back to her people, the Israelites, who use it to inspire them to defeat the Assyrian army. Because the Assyrians fucked them too. The Iranians, Assyrians, Iraq, fucked them too. The Hamites, the Arabs, Palestinians, fuck all of them. Because they all going into captivity. Yes, sir. So, let me do this here. Okay, let me come back to the scriptures. I'm going long. I didn't want to go this long, but so if you applied the law, the punishment for adultery, there'll be a lot of, then there won't be no flesh to save. You know, because a lot of Jakes will be put to death. The majority of Jakes will be put to death. Ain't going to be beamed up into a Yahushua ship, and they're going to be dropped off in the lake of fire. These guys are knuckleheads, man. And Yahushua is not dealing with these guys. There's no more Sakari. That's all broken up. It's broken up into 1 million pieces. You know? And these guys that set up their own camps that were formerly part of Sakari, you gotta get rid of that Sakari spirit. Wearing the fitteds, you know, you got the street clothes on with the tassels, you know. You got to teach the scriptures the right way. Where did I say I was going to go? Let me go from here. I believe it's Deuteronomy. This is for you YNs. Oh, let me show you this clip right here. Okay, it's right about here. I'm going to slow it down. Okay, so you can watch. This is what Jake's mindset is. You know, when pretty much got a slap in the wrist. What happened was, we knew that they were going to get him on RICO and sex trafficking, because he would have spent years upon. He spent life in there. We talking 20 to life, 25 to life. They haven't. Did they sentence him already? They didn't. If they sentence him, send me the information. I'll look for it. But what they did was that was called a humiliation ritual, because he's an insider. So they said we're gonna smack you in the wrist. We're gonna embarrass you, but you're not gonna go to jail forever. So this is what the fans of Diddy, certain Jakes, did outside. That's why the Most High got to take these YNs out and these women out and these wicked ass Israelites out.
All them charges, and he was found only guilty of what he was. There was 2 people out there. One nigga was pouring baby oil on him.
These are them same niggas that was back there in the wilderness. That when Moses thought it was war, they were partying hard. They were freaking off. And it says that they were naked, meaning they were caught out there being wicked. You see the women, she's rubbing the guy's back. This woman's smiling. This woman's in the back clapping because they gave him a slap in the wrist. Hey, but you know what? I got a question. Where was the IUIC? Shouldn't they been down there trying to wake Jake up? Now you can know, this chick look like my sister. You know that these women out here, they lay with multiple different men.
And then here comes some ugly ass black woman. She pouring baby on her, baby in front of the damn courthouse.
Ah! I got the baby oil! Baby oil! Baby oil!
Oh, man.
In front of the court.
So what was the reason for that?
Because they love Diddy. And that's what I'm saying. We don't.
And they love being wicked. They love being wicked, man. That's why the missiles can't come soon enough. So let me put this back to normal and watch more of it. So let's go back into the preset, the scriptures. Deuteronomy 21, if I'm not mistaken. Deuteronomy 21, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I'll find it. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do it this way. Thought it was Deuteronomy 21. Okay, I found it. The key point is right here. Okay, I knew it was 18. I wasn't sure though. It says, if a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, that's a YN. A YN. A boy that was born to a single parent, for the 99% of is a woman, a single mom. These little gremlins out here doing all kind of madness. They call them YNs, young niggas. They come from a broken household. One mother, a woman can't raise a son. Matter of fact, a woman can't raise a son and a daughter. You need the man and the woman, and they have to have the scriptures. So what is the Most High going to do to these jakes out here? They're going to get that chip. They want to continue on the grid. They're going to have to get that chip. And then when they get that chip, and they can't say we didn't know, we wouldn't have took it. No, you had the GMS constantly put up videos on it, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother. And that when they have chastened him, when they beat him will not hearken unto them. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of the city and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of the city, this our son is stubborn. And they setting him up to get him killed. And rebel, like these old black women today. Oh, my son did. They'll bring out a picture of him in first grade. He got the motherboard square on his head. His name is Dexter. He's real little cute little nigga. But he turned out to be a demon. And you know, that's my son is good. My son wouldn't do nothing. They always say that. My son wouldn't do nothing like that. They got video on this nigga. He got a damn arrest record 2 miles long. That ain't talking about, that ain't doing, my son wouldn't do nothing like that. That's why they got to get chipped too. Your mama got to get chipped. So your mama can eat a missile. So it's coming, man. It's coming. Nero's in the corner right now. He's cornered. He's cornered. You go into the history of Nero, what did Nero ultimately do? The people were for him when he was a young man. He became emperor at 16. When he was up in age, the people turned against him, and you know what he wound up doing? He wound up committing suicide. The MAGA people are burning their hats. So don't be surprised if this man, offs himself. Because he don't want it. He brings out the ML recently. Oh, he's going to bring out the MLK files. Ain't nobody want to see what MLK is all about. They want to see what the Epstein files is all about. And that's everybody saying that's a distraction. That's nothing but a distraction. It said, and they shall say unto the elders of his city, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton, the nigga eat all day, and a drunkard. Like today, you got guys that live in the house, they play video games all day. They ordering Domino's pizza or Papa John's pizza, Papa Juan's pizza. We call it Papa Juan. You know, they ordering something from DoorDash and putting it on your mother's account, and they playing video games all day. What's this nigga Kai Sinet? That's the poster child for what I'm reading about. A drunkard, but he gets high. That's how they got high, with wine and liquor. The Old Testament tell you about they had liquor and wine. Tell you about liquor and wine. Look it up. But now they use liquor, wine, and they mix it with drugs. And the mother's afraid to do something because there was a case out of Chicago a couple of years ago of a rapper, up and coming rapper, who killed his mother, and his mother worked. She had a business, but she was making good money, and she was spoiling that kid. She got him a brand new whip, anything she needed, but that wasn't enough. He wanted more, so I believe he put a insurance policy on his mother, and then he straight up killed his mother. Now that nigga should burn in hell, but fortunately for him, there's no hell. That's another thing that the IUIC go off on, is that hell doctrine. How can you sit there and agree with this guy when he said 3 years ago, oh, there's an actual hell? Do you guys have backbones? I'm talking about the leadership. Where you at, Deacon Nathan? He just said, oh, there's a place called hell, and you're going to burn in there forever. And you say, okay, I'm with it. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones. What's the modern stone? The bullet. That he die. And they look forward to doing that. They said, we're going to kill a little YN today? Yeah, good. So shalt thou put evil, that's evil. What these YNs are doing are evil, away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And if a man have committed a sin worthy to death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on the tree, because they hung niggas, they whip niggas to death. They stone people. If your daughter played the harlot, you don't stone her to death. You don't hang her. You burn her with fire. You burn her up. His body shall be not remain all night. Yeah, right. That's why when they took Yahushua down, they had to bury him before the sun went down. But anyway, I went a little long. Please forgive me. With that, on to the next. Shalom.